My name is Julie McLarnon. I'm the coordinator of the Early Years Pedagogy 0 to 8 Foundation degree. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. I will answer them, speak to them at the end. We are recording this session and it will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can come back and revisit it and you can share it with others. We had a lot of people down today. What I would like to know is whether these webinars need to be later in the evening, because I think we had about 13 said they were coming and there's only a few turned up, so it might be about timing. So I'd be grateful to know that. Okay, the course is validated by the Open University, and what that means is that Nescott delivers a university course, but the degree is awarded from the Open University. The Open University has an international reputation and very high quality academic rigor and a support network, which ensures very high quality of the content of the course. And what we're looking for is child-centered practitioners who are really passionate about play with children from 0 to 8 and recognize it as an effective, or probably the most effective vehicle for supporting children's learning. And this course was developed as an antidote, if you like, to the increasing formalizing of getting children ready for school. And when we actually, the more formal we make it, the more difficult it becomes for children, because that's not the way that they learn. We are looking to bring something new. We're looking for students who are really committed to play and children's rights to play. And we're supporting our students to develop the vocabulary and the confidence to be able to assert that within their settings, but at the same time fulfill all their statutory obligations. So we know that students, when they're working in their early years, or maybe in reception class, or maybe in Key Stage 1, especially if you're a one-to-one in a Key Stage 1, you might be very familiar with this, that some of your children struggle with being expected to sit down, with being expected to write, with being expected to hold a pencil, being able to sit for a long time on the carpet. And that as seasoned professionals, we understand that we can do things differently, but maybe lack the confidence and the vocabulary to explain that or to suggest alternatives. And what the course gives you is the luxury of being able to sit back, because you're at uni, and look at what you do now and what you think you could do differently, and to really think about and consider and compare and contrast that. Okay, we've called it pedagogy because it's the art and science of educating children, and we're looking at playful and active learning approaches. We're also looking, as intuitive practitioners, where we have a feeling, where we know instinctively what's right and how we can actually lead on that and work through that and bring others with us. Maybe one of the first questions I will ask is, how do you pronounce pedagogy? It seems to stump people. So, a foundation degree. This foundation degree is what's called level 4 and level 5. It's the first 2 years of a degree course. It combines work and study, and it's completely practice focused. So you come onto the course for sort of 5 hours, sort of twilight session a week. And everything that you do in terms of the modules, in terms of the activities, in terms of your assignments, are all focused on what you do in the setting, which is why you need to volunteer either for 16 hours or be working in a setting for more than 16 hours. It's affordable. Our foundation degrees are cheaper than degrees at universities. You also won't be needing a maintenance loan, because you'll probably be at home, or you'll be living at home. You won't have far to travel. And it's a recognised qualification that's highly valued by employers. And at the moment, we've been speaking to different nursery trains who are really interested in the foundation degree course, because they want to empower and facilitate their working staff, but also to improve the outcomes for children, but focusing much more on play. We have excellent facilities here. We have free parking in the great big car park, very close to the M25. We've also got train station and bus routes very close by. We've got our own LRC resources for our HE students. We have excellent databases, books and research tools. We have learning support here for those who struggle with what's in their head and it won't come down their arm, which is very, very common. They can't get it down on paper. And in terms of the lecturers, I have been delivering at a university level for the last 18 years. And my colleague who will be teaching with you, I taught her. She came through this course. She ended up working at Nescott, and she is now, delivering on university level courses. I have 100% pass rate, 100% success rate over the past 18 years. Haven't lost one yet. So if you choose to come to Nescott, you are in very, very, very good hands. So the 2 years, level 4. We first of all look at reflective learners in early years. So it's giving you study skills, what it means to be, what reflection means. When we talk about reflection all the time in our practice, if you're in Key Stage 1, if you're in reception class, if you're in the baby room, we think about what we do all the time. We then move on to child development and playful learning. And we start to look at the theories and the research around how children develop, and start to look at the classical theories that some of you might have done at your level 3, or maybe if you've done A-levels and you've done sort of child psychology. We look at our Frobels and our Vygotskis and our Piagets. And we start to look at newer, more contemporary thinkers and more contemporary research. We then go on to what's called playful pedagogy, where you compare and contrast what you do. You look at play, what play means, you define play, and you do something that you would normally do in the setting that maybe you've been thinking for a while, actually, we could do this better. Or the outcomes for my children, this doesn't suit my children. And because you're at uni and because you're a student, you are able to experiment with that, to compare and contrast. We then look at parents and carers as partners. And we will actually be interview a couple of parents to talk about what they feel is parental partnership. Now, in the first year, we're embedding lots and lots of skills, lots of data collection skills, communication skills. We're developing your writing skills, your research skills. So we're making sure that we build everything up that you will need to successfully transition onto level 5. You have to pass level 4 to come onto level 5. We've got the cohort that are, at the moment are really, really enjoying what they're doing in the course. And we've just had some feedback from a questionnaire, and we have 100% satisfaction rate on the first year alone. So people are really enjoying this because they can look at what they do and experiment with it in a really safe place. You're then going on to level 5, and we will look at what's called curriculum frameworks and global considerations. So we'll look at what everybody else does. We start looking at New Zealand, we look at Australia, we can look at Singapore, we can look at India, Montessori, high scope in America. And the best way to learn something is to teach somebody else. So during this module, you'll be asked to do a podcast. Now, we're not going to turn you into media stars, but you can use your phone to record something. But we're asking to do a podcast on a particular curriculum of choice and to identify how that curriculum could inform what you do here. Okay. We then do children's welfare, legal and professional responsibilities, and we look at serious case reviews in child protection, raising the question. We might look at somebody called Daniel Pelka, Victoria Colombier. There are some recent cases that have been in the media, and we ask the question: is what happens to those children? Could it happen in this setting? Could it be something that we might ourselves experience? And we look at why those things happened. We look at these particular children, and we enhance our practice through really thinking about that. That's a group presentation. Okay. Digital pedagogy and communication skills. We're looking, especially after COVID, we're looking at how we can support children's playful learning and engagement through digital technology. Okay, what makes IT kit playful? What is the best learning outcomes? Is IT playful? We're looking at that, but we're developing our communication skills, because what we're doing is we are going to then needing to communicate to other people an aspect of digital pedagogy. And then we have what's called our special project at the end of level 5, which is you looking at something that floats your boat, something that you've enjoyed, something that you want to change, something that you want to engage with, and you do a little piece of research. And we will, all through the course of the 2 years, we've been building on all those skills for you to do that piece of research. Now, previous to this, on other courses that I've run, the the potential to really make a difference is huge in this particular module. We've had students that have changed the reception to Key Stage 1 entry across a very large 4 reception class intake primary school. We've had students change their recycling for the and do it sort of like environmentally friendly sort of composting and things in a large nursery chain, and they've actually changed the policies and procedures for that. And we had another student who worked in partnership with Disney on emoticons, and she's now doing a PhD on how children relate to Disney characters at a particular point in their life, because she worked with acquired brain injury for children who've been very poorly below the age of 5, and she was sort of looking at that. So we have a real broad range of really current topics that will impact upon what you do, because it's your practice and you're choosing the focus. You will be filmed, you will be expected to present, you will be involved in podcasts, but you'll get all the support that you need, okay? Because at the end of the day, as graduates, you need to be going out into the world and sort of saying, look, this is how we can learn through play, and you're going to need to develop those skills. Anybody that's anxious, concerned, gets worried about these things, you just talk to us. There are all sorts of methods, alternative provisions, ways of doing things that make sure that you can engage with the module, but at the same time feel safe about doing so. So what do you need to come on the course? Level 3 years qualification or equivalent. You might be in play work or health and social care, okay? You can do A levels in a related subject, so psychology, child development, sociology. You need to be working in an appropriate setting, either voluntarily, but for 16 hours a week, or working at least 16 hours a week. You can come from children's centres, nurseries, you can be a childminder, you can work in schools, you can work in after and before school clubs, you can work at weekend institute, sort of weekend Saturday schools, etc. We normally say 2 years experience, but we do consider those who have progressed. Some of our younger students will have already been babysitting and doing after school clubs and play clubs, etc. They might have lots of experience. Some of us might be older and we've not qualified until we were sort of in our 30s, but have been volunteering since we were in our 20s. These are the things that we decide at interview. We've also considered a range of alternative qualifications, which you would need to discuss with me, and that's what we do. It's called APEL, and we look at your prior experiential learning, okay? I have a lovely story of one of my students. She actually had a level 2 in hairdressing, but had gone to her child's school to support the school, found herself getting a job as a TA, found herself then leading on literacy for the reception class. And so we took her on because she had been working, she'd been walking the walk and talking the walk for the last 5 years, but in terms of her qualifications, she didn't have the same, and we APEL'd her across. We looked at what she'd done before. We have a really lovely broad range of age ranges. So we come from sort of 20s, early 20s, right through to career change mummies who may have, again, sort of maybe been in banking or HR when they've had their children, decided it was more compatible to stay at home, then started to volunteer and started to work in play schools or preschools, or as readers in their child's school. So there's lots of routes through. You must have a clean DBS, and you must nominate a mentor. Now, the mentor doesn't measure your competency and your effectiveness. There's somebody to talk through each module with, to look at how best you can approach and fulfill the learning outcomes of those modules. So if you're talking to parents, which parents do you think you should talk to? If you're looking at digital technology, what sort of kit do you think you should use? Okay. If there's a special project, where do they think you go? So they're a sounding board. They're not there to mark your work. They're there to support you, to recognize and make change. Okay. It's £6,300 per year. So you're looking over, sort of like £12,600 for level 4 and level 5, which is considerably cheaper than what you pay if you were going to university, in terms of Nottingham or what have you. And although we are FE College, we have a very secure and stable university base. And like I say, we've been doing this a long time. So when will you go? College attendance is 1 day per week, 3:30 to 8 p.m. It's part-time attendance, but the course is classed as full-time, all right, because the learning takes place in the work setting. It's not a soft option. You hit the ground running. So if if you think the time is ready for you to come on the course, think about, sort of like, are you able to do it? It's 30 weeks of the year. We start in the September, we go through to the May. We don't get the May half terms here at Nescott. We have semesters, uni semesters, but we try to accommodate our learners as best as possibly can. Okay, you need to have things, you've got children, you need to have your childcare, etc. in place, because it's 90% attendance, because we are coming in just 1 day a week. If you miss that, if you're poorly, there's nothing you can do about that, but if you miss that, we don't revisit, we can't go back. But also the group work, the joint work, the partnership work, all those things, there's marked assessments where you work together and present together. You need to be in attendance to actually work with the people that are here. Excellent links to rail and transport. It is assumed, we're starting on Thursday, 9th of September. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, and hopefully no COVID. And there will be an induction day, probably a Saturday before, so that you get to know the college and you get your passes and you've got enrolments done and everything's all done for you, so that we can just start straight with the teaching and learning on our first day. I will keep interviewing up until probably late August. Okay, so you can apply straight to the college. We have had some UCAS applications, but you can apply straight to the college, and you just go and click onto our website and fill in your application. Okay, it's a really flexible route to higher education and top-ups, which would give you a full BA honours. So we've got students who would go on to maybe initial teacher training, early years teacher status, postgraduate certs, PGCE, and then on to an MA. And if I show you the routes through, okay, if I just these routes, so I'll show you the routes through. So at the moment, you would come and do your early years pedagogy, which is, if you can see my cursor there, which is 0 to 8. We've just had our validation of a top-up in professional practice in working with children 0 to 19. So you can do a full degree course at Nescott. You can do a full BA honours top-up in professional practice. Once you've got your full degree, you can go on to early years teacher status. We don't do that here. Or primary education, PGC in primary education, which at the moment we don't do here. But if that's the route you wanted to go through, you would go to, there's Greenwich, there's Roehampton, etc. Or by the time, if you come into the course after 3 years, we probably will be doing that. Okay. Some students might decide from the foundation degree to do an education studies BA top-up, which is from Greenwich University, and then go on to either do PGCE in primary education or with maybe slightly older children, because some of you might be still working, for the degree course, you have to be from 0 to, for the first 2 years, 0 to 8, but you might find yourself working up the school, okay? And the professional practice working with children 0 to 19 extends that age range. And also other students, we've got other courses at Nescott, which students might want to go on that. So you can do your entire degree here at Nescott a lot cheaper than you would do it anywhere else, with free parking, excellent teaching and learning, and no maintenance loan. That's me, and that's me. If you need to speak to me, it's better to email me. If you want to put something in the chat, I'll have a little look at the chat. Then ring me, because I'm teaching and I don't always pick up the phone. So if you want to email me, I'm fine with that. Like I say, or you can directly apply. Thank you for attending.